Another important technique for the clavichord is the appoggiato. And Wolf speaks about it only rather shortly, but also here gives us some interesting information. He says that it's a combination of slurring and playing in a very clear and almost accentuated way. In German, he says, nun kommen wir zu einer Manier, die das Schleifen und ein Drücken in sich begreift. So it means the slurring and the pressing are both united, are both brought together. Later he makes a remark that this is an ornament, or eine Manier, that if not on the clavichord, can also rather well be done on the Silbermann fortepianos by Heinrich Silbermann in Strasbourg, although of course not with the same sound modifications than on the clavichord. Also here he gives an idea about the consonants that we shall look for, which here are th, so th, instead of, as before, with the Abstoßen t and t. So I think everyone has to try that a little bit because it also depends on the instrument, but I think the idea is very nice. Now let me show you an example by Wolf with the appoggiato, and I will try to follow exactly what he says. Again, play with a stiff, strong finger, and play the notes so densely that there's absolutely no gap in between. What I will try to avoid is the howling of the Bebung, so I will try to be really careful that this doesn't happen. Let me try. And now I'm going to play it without appoggiato, so that you see the difference. This is how I would play normally. And now once again with the appoggiato and the technical advices by Wolf. And I think the most beautiful side effect of this is the full and rich and very dense and expressive sound created here. So I think this is really a great means of expression on our instrument. The next section of Wolf's foreword deals with the Bebung, which is the vibrato, or also called the tremolo. And this is like the key, like the center of clavichord playing, which is the ability to really change and influence and amplify the sound. And you can do this in very different ways, so just very slowly and gently, or more to the extreme. And I'm really happy that my Hubel clavichord allows me to shade this really, really much. So I'm very happy about that. This Bebung apparently has been important to Wolf, although I have to make the remark that there are very, very few pieces by him where it's actually written in. That may have different reasons, of course, but in any case, it seems obvious that he didn't want it to be used too much. It's quite possible that it has been used when playing a lot more than how he wrote it, but the amount of movements where we find it is really, really little. I think it's 3 pieces at all that I have found so far that include signs of Bebung. However, highly differentiated. So we find 4 dots, we find 5 dots, we find even 6 dotted tremolos. So a 4-dotted one would be, if we want to do it exactly, and I think we should, a 5-dotted one, and a 6-dotted one, taking really a lot of time, all this we find in examples by Wolf. Which leads me to a very interesting and very nice side comment that he makes on the Bebung. Because here he mentions that he visited CPE Bach 2 years before, so that it would have been 1782 approximately, where he calls him Vater Bach, which I think is a very, very beautiful way of talking about CPE in that moment, saying that CPE Bach, when he visited him, was able to do real miracles, real wonders with that kind of playing. So it's an interesting reference, I find. In any case, the Bebung has been an important expressive means, and I would at least like to show 2 spots where Wolf wrote this Bebung. It's, as already mentioned before, the same book that this treatise is being put in the beginning. And I think that the most interesting and the most expressive moments are towards the end of the Fantasie, so really towards the end of this book. And I would like to show this to you. We find an arpeggiated allegro party here. Leading up to D flat in the top with a 5-dotted Bebung. I play it again. So really slowing the tempo down, and then another cascade. And then a lot of different tremolos following it and different voices in an adagio. 6-dotted, 5-dotted, 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 which ends the piece. A next and very interesting topic here is the tempo rubato. It has been and is topic of many discussions, and we also find it in Türk's Klavierschule in an extensive description. Wolf makes a short half page of it, but it's very interesting nevertheless. He says that it can happen in the adagio, but also in the allegro. And first of all, he mentions a type of tempo rubato that is quasi written in the music. And he says this can be either in form of a retardatio or an anticipatio, so coming late or coming before. And I would like to show this at a small example. Let us say this is our basic thing, yeah? With a melody retarded, it could be like this. Or anticipated. What now I try to realize automatically is what Wolf says a little bit later. Here he says that on the beginning of a bar, both hands have to be exactly together. So that means that whatever happens before, so to say, can be free and expressive and crazy and whatever, but on the beginning of a bar it has to be really in order and together. So versus, which creates disorder. So what he also mentions, however, is a free way of tempo rubato, and that can include unequal figures, such like septuals or nonuals, like or even more notes, that you do not play metrically correct. So not, but really free and expressive. Yeah. And then comes something very interesting in my opinion. A sort of special example of tempo rubato, where he mentions the player to be inventing, to be reinventing, to be spontaneous. So he shows examples of what is written and what a virtuoso, as he says, would probably make out of it. So the written example would be this. And what would be realized, according to Wolf, could be this. Another example. Written, executed, so how it would be played, like this. And this I find very interesting for two different reasons. Because on the one hand, it shows that not automatically everything would have been just played the way it was written, but a musical texture could be, reinvented, made new, made more interesting, more expressive, which has a lot to do with improvisation. But it could also be a hint to varied reprises. That means it could be the first time played as it's written, and when it's repeated, played in a completely different way. Another example could be, which would be in a varied reprise, something like this. And so on. So this has a lot to do with improvisation and liberty. And now let me show you an example of the interlocking or intertwining hands. And as I said before, this is also found in Türk's Klavierschule, where he shows exactly this example. And I think it's a really great and funky place within this sonata movement. So here we are in Sonata B flat major from 1779. And I play a little bit before this spot. And also here Wolf brings it again. Really cool places, in my opinion. Yeah. So I hope this little introduction in the world of Ernst Wilhelm Wolf was nice to you, and it was a big pleasure for me in any case. In the end, I would like to play one entire slow movement for you, so that really there can be a connection to this composer and that we really see what wonderful music he has done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Clavichord en France. Thank you especially Aline et Benjamin for this invitation, and I hope to see you all live and in real in the future, and that we all stay in good health.